Welcome to Ultimate Mega Projects.
What you are looking at is not natural. Every single grain of sand you see was placed by human hands. 20 years ago, this exact spot was open ocean with waves rolling uninterrupted from the horizon. Today, 25,000 people live here on a palm-shaped island so large, it is clearly visible from space. Dubai decided to build a city where none existed, spending $12 billion to manufacture land from the seabed using technology that had never been tested before. Here is what nobody talks about. When the engineers started in 2001, there was no blueprint for this. They were figuring it out as they went, solving problems that had never been solved in human history. The first challenge was simply knowing where to put the sand. With no landmarks on open water, Dubai launched a private satellite just to guide the dredging ships. Captains watched screens and sprayed sand exactly like painting on a digital canvas. This technique is called rainbowing. Day after day, the ships sprayed 86,000 tons of sand, slowly building 17 fronds radiating from a central trunk. The shape was not chosen just for looks. It was engineered to maximize beachfront. Before the fronds could be protected, engineers built an 11-kilometer breakwater wall in the shape of a crescent. 7 million tons of rock, blasted from 16 different quarries around the world, were placed with GPS precision. A hidden geotextile membrane prevents the fine sand from washing out through the gaps. But just 1 year after sealing the crescent, engineers discovered a critical problem.
The water trapped inside was not circulating. Under the intense Gulf heat, it was becoming stagnant and lifeless. They had to cut 2 gaps in the very wall they had just finished building, allowing natural tides to flush the lagoon clean every 13 days. An unintended miracle occurred. The submerged breakwater rocks became one of the Gulf's best artificial reefs, attracting more marine life than the natural seabed ever supported. To turn billions of loose grains into solid ground capable of holding skyscrapers, engineers used a technique called vibro compaction. Vibrating probes were driven deep into the sand, shaking the grains until they locked together into a dense, stable block. Over 2 years, they drilled 200,000 holes across the island. Beneath the seabed, they laid 12 separate pipelines for water and power at depths of 16 meters. They dammed a section of the Gulf, pumped out the seawater, and built a 6-lane undersea tunnel 25 meters below the surface using 30,000 tons of steel. Before starting, they carefully relocated 2,000 fish by hand. A driverless monorail now glides silently along the trunk, carrying 20,000 passengers daily. By 2006, just 5 years after the first grain of sand was placed, the first residents moved in. 12,000 mature palm trees were planted, so the island looked finished immediately. In 2008, the Atlantis Hotel opened with the world's largest fireworks display. Today, the Palm is not a tourist attraction. It is a functioning suburb with schools, clinics, and supermarkets. What was once open ocean is now simply home.
From above, the Palm Jumeirah reveals its true genius. It sits just 15 minutes from the mainland, yet it feels like a world apart. 24 years ago, these exact coordinates showed nothing but empty blue water on satellite images. Today, a living city stands in its place. The trunk stretches 4 kilometers from the shore to the crescent, lined with luxury apartments and the silent, driverless monorail. From the 52nd floor of Palm Tower, you witness the only place on Earth where the palm shape reveals itself. At night, the street lights trace golden arcs across the dark water, a glowing geometry visible from space. The design was not an artistic whim. It was a mathematical solution. Dubai's natural coastline was only 72 kilometers long, providing space for just 200 beachfront plots. But the palm shape, with its 17 fronds, created 78 kilometers of new coastline and 1,500 beachfront villas. Every single villa has direct access to the sea. Walking through Nakio Mall or picking up groceries at the supermarket, you forget this land was once ocean. The first school opened in 2011, confirming this was a real neighborhood, not a theme park. At the point, fountains danced nightly with Atlantis glowing in the background, an engineered joy for residents and visitors. Luxury brands found their home here, and the island became synonymous with a coveted lifestyle. The original survey team, now retired, returned to walk the beaches they measured from empty water. A young Emirati engineer now points to blueprints for Palm Jebel Ali, teaching the next generation. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, the Palm's values fell, but they recovered faster than anywhere else. That same month, Atlantis opened with defiant fireworks. Across the water, Palm Jebel Ali was frozen in time, and the giant Palm Dera was never built. But the pause provided 20 years of data. When the world locked down in 2020, the Palm's private beaches became a sanctuary. Demand for waterfront homes exploded. In 2023, armed with 2 decades of perfect monitoring data, Dubai restarted Palm Jebel Ali. New dredgers arrived, and the rainbow of sand once again painted the Gulf. By 2040, Dubai's coastline will be entirely redrawn. Beneath the waves of the first Palm, a miraculous artificial reef thrives with turtles and coral. The island demands constant maintenance against erosion, a forever commitment. But when storms rage against the crescent, the lagoon inside remains calm. And after every storm, the sun rises on the Palm, just as it has for 25 years. In the 1970s, Dubai's coastline was just empty desert and quiet beaches. But Sheikh Mohammed looked at that empty gulf and saw a future that no one else could imagine. The world's leading engineers told him it was impossible. The currents were too unpredictable. The sand would never hold. The cost would spiral out of control. But in 2001, the first survey vessel ventured out with a crew of Dutch and Emirati specialists. Divers descended to the seabed and extracted core samples. They made a crucial discovery. The desert sand on land was too smooth and round to lock together, but the angular sand on the seabed was perfect for a stable foundation. The design went through 17 iterations before the final palm shape was locked. Then the Dutch dredging armada arrived. With no landmarks on open water, the captains navigated using a private satellite Dubai launched specifically for this project. In August 2001, the first grain of sand was sprayed into the Gulf. Day and night, for ships worked in formation, painting the 17 fronds onto the ocean. When survey teams first stepped onto the wet sand, they were the first humans in history to stand on that piece of earth. The crescent wall grew stone by stone, with every 7-ton rock placed according to exact GPS coordinates. In the 1970s, Dubai's coastline was just empty desert and quiet beaches. But Sheikh Mohammed looked at that empty gulf and saw a future that no one else could imagine. The world's leading engineers told him it was impossible. The currents were too unpredictable. The sand would never hold. The cost would spiral out of control. But in 2001, the first survey vessel ventured out with a crew of Dutch and Emirati specialists. Divers descended to the seabed and extracted core samples. They made a crucial discovery. The desert sand on land was too smooth and round to lock together, but the angular sand on the seabed was perfect for a stable foundation. The design went through 17 iterations before the final palm shape was locked. Then the Dutch dredging armada arrived. With no landmarks on open water, the captains navigated using a private satellite Dubai launched specifically for this project. In August 2001, the first grain of sand was sprayed into the Gulf. Day and night, for ships worked in formation, painting the 17 fronds onto the ocean. When survey teams first stepped onto the wet sand, they were the first humans in history to stand on that piece of earth. The crescent wall grew stone by stone, with every 7-ton rock placed according to exact GPS coordinates. In 2006, the first residents turned their keys and walked into a dream. 12,000 mature palm trees were planted within weeks, transforming construction sites into tropical boulevards. Villas sold before they were even built, as buyers from around the world bought into the vision. Families enjoyed their first weekends on frond beaches, watching the Atlantis Hotel rise across the lagoon. In November 2008, Atlantis opened with a fireworks display so massive it was visible from space. That same month, Lehman Brothers collapsed and global markets crashed. While the world panicked, Dubai celebrated defiantly. But the crisis was real. Across the water, construction on Palm Jebel Ali froze, and the giant Palm Dera was shelved forever. On Jumeirah, however, A community forged in adversity grew stronger. By 2011, the first supermarket opened its doors. A year later, a school bell rang for the first time. Doctors' clinics and pharmacies followed. The Palm was no longer a project. It was a functioning neighborhood. By 2015, the island was mature and thriving. The Point opened with its dancing fountains, and Nakiel Mall became the community's beating heart. The Palm Tower offered a vertigo-inducing infinity pool view that finally revealed the Palm shape to anyone who made the ascent. Luxury hotels like the St. Regis found their most unique address. When the pandemic locked down the world in 2020, the Palm's private beaches and spacious villas became a sanctuary. Global demand for that privacy exploded, and property values soared to new heights. In 2023, armed with 20 years of flawless monitoring data from Jumeirah, Dubai announced the restart of Palm Jebel Ali. Bigger, greener, and smarter, the new design incorporates every lesson learned. New dredgers arrived, and the familiar rainbow of sand once again painted the Gulf. By 2040, Dubai's coastline will be redrawn, a testament to human will. Beneath the waves of the first Palm, an accidental reef thrives with turtles and coral. Maintenance crews work forever to preserve the perfect shape against erosion. But when winter storms rage against the crescent, the lagoon inside remains calm. And after every storm, the sun rises on the Palm. 25 years, one impossible dream. The Palm Jumeirah stands today as a living monument to what happens when vision meets relentless execution. The original survey team, now in their twilight years, return to walk the beaches they first measured from an empty sea. A young Emirati mother points to the island from a boat, telling her daughter how her great-grandfather helped build this land. The accidental reef on the breakwater now hosts turtles and thriving coral, a barren seabed transformed into a living ecosystem. Maintenance crews work around the clock, forever vigilant, adding sand to frond edges to preserve the perfect palm shape against the constant erosion of the sea. When winter storms rage against the crescent, the lagoon inside remains as calm as a mirror. And after every storm, a new dawn breaks and the sun rises on the Palm. Its influence has spread globally. From Singapore to Monaco, coastal cities now use techniques pioneered here. At night, the glowing palm is a unique human signature visible from the stars. The island is home to 100 nationalities living as one community. Children build sandcastles on the same beaches where dredgers once sprayed the first grains. Elderly couples walk hand in hand at sunset, having chosen this manufactured land as their final home. A bronze plaque tells the story. The Burj Al Arab and the Palm stand together as twin icons of a city that dared. Every morning, a new day dawns on new land. Seaplanes take off, giving passengers the view that changed how the world sees Dubai. The sun sets in perfect alignment with the Atlantis Arch, a moment of sublime harmony. Families enjoy nightly fireworks from their terraces, magic made possible by sand. The numbers are staggering. 94 million cubic meters of sand, 7 million tons of rock, $12 billion. But the truest measure of the Palm is the community notice board covered in yoga flyers and lost cat posters. This is a real neighborhood, not a theme park. As blue hour descends, the Palm hangs suspended between sky and sea. The waves will forever lap at its edges, an eternal conversation with the ocean. This did not exist until someone decided to make it happen. The Palm Jumeirah, Dubai, United Arab Emirates.
Every frame in this video has been crafted through a multi-stage documentary production process, from original research and script development to AI cinematic visualization and professional editing. Human creativity guides every step. A digital documentary host and advanced visual tools are used to clearly explain complex mega projects, engineering and global infrastructure. This channel is dedicated to original documentary storytelling and follows all YouTube policies regarding AI assistance.